Plan B is a backup birth control option that's there for you when things don't go according to plan. It specifically works after unprotected sex and before pregnancy occurs by temporarily delaying ovulation. Plan B is available nationwide at all major retailers and through delivery apps like DoorDash. No ID, prescription, or age requirement. It's the #1 OBGYN recommended brand of emergency contraception, and it won't impact your future fertility. That's freedom to be. Use as directed.
Home, home, just wanna go, home, home, back home. I've been gone for way too long. Home, home.
Welcome to Make Space, a home design show that empowers you to create spaces you're obsessed with. Tune in for conversations that dive deeper than pin-worthy rooms. Host Cara Newhart teases out the essentials of designing spaces that inspire happiness and serve your everyday life. Cara has been featured in House Beautiful, Apartment Therapy, NBC News, and Insider, and has collaborated with brands like Home Depot, Wayfair, World Market, and more. Here's your host, Cara Newhart.
Hey, it's Cara again, and I'm on a mission to help you find your style, tackle home design without intimidation, and unlock the confidence to transform your home. On the show today, I'm taking you behind the scenes, and we're going to learn all about how wallpaper becomes wallpaper. How does it get from an artist's brain into a paper that you can put on the wall? So I get to sit down with Candice Kaye, who is a wallpaper designer. She also designs other textiles like rugs, and we're talking all about her collections, her creative process, her inspiration, and her journey. This is a really exciting conversation because it's something I've always wondered about, and it just makes it even more special. So now when I'm looking at wallpaper patterns and prints, I'm thinking of the artist that was actually behind them that created these. It's not just a look or an aesthetic or a color palette. There actually was at some point an artist that was inspired to create this pattern. And I think that just makes wallpaper so much more special. We talk about how to use wallpaper in your spaces, some pro tips, and so much more. So let's dive into this episode and talk all about wallpaper. Okay, so today I have an incredible textile designer with me, Candice. Welcome, Candice.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So your work feels very inspired by adventure, and I kind of get the sense that you had maybe a windy path into textile design. Can you share a little bit about how you got started?
Yeah, it's a long journey. I actually started in interior design, and it wasn't until I was making mood boards that I realized that there was a textile industry. You know, we were taught in school that you just kind of went to the showrooms, picked out your fabric, and, that's where it existed, and nothing really happened beyond that process. And that was your selection. And during my interior design course, I realized I enjoyed making mood boards more than I liked the structure of a building.
Sure, yeah.
Right? So then I left interior design, and I started blogging, and I started doing photography, and I started to make videos, and I fell in love with Pinterest and Tumblr, and I would just do that for hours. I just loved the process of finding images. And I always wanted to have my own company, but I wasn't quite sure what it was going to be in. And I loved interior design and I love fashion, but I was like, okay, where do I fit? I don't care where your wall goes, but I love, dressing up a room, but I don't want to go shopping for furniture. So I was kind of in this this phase where I knew what I didn't want. And it wasn't until I went to a trip to see a good friend of mine. She was living in Paris. And I walked into this manufacturing warehouse, and it was filled with fabrics and wall coverings. It was like, oh my God, it's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to make my own fabric and put it on my own furniture and make my own wallpaper and create a world that's my own through textile. And then I applied blindly to the FIT program in New York for textile design. Somehow got in because I didn't grow up painting. I could paint naturally. I could draw naturally. But not trained.
Right.
And so I went to New York with no plan B.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember the first day, the professor was like, take out your paintbrushes. And everyone in my class were highly trained, beautiful artists. And I'm so lucky because I was able to learn from them throughout the course. And that was it. And then I taught myself everything I knew, and I fell into really cool clients. And now I do bespoke textile for interiors, hospitality, and commercial.
Yeah.
And residential.
Mm-hmm. That's so amazing. I love hearing creative journeys because they always are very windy, and it's like you just find the thing that feels right, and it's never what you initially thought it was, which is really cool. But as I help everyday women kind of like unlock their confidence to get creative and DIY in their spaces, I find many people telling me like I'm not creative. And for
Mm-hmm.
me, that opens like a whole conversation about like creative expression and how many of us have like kind of lost touch with that. Like, as far back as elementary school, we just stopped coloring and then that was it. And so
Mm-hmm.
I'd love to dive into your creative process because I think it's something that's easier for people to like grasp and practice when you can see, someone doing it on a professional level. So can you share like about your process a little bit, maybe like where you get your inspiration and how you kind of like translate that into designs?
Yeah. It's the process is really just allowing yourself to be open to the creativity. I think that's the number one thing that I've learned. And then I travel a lot, and that's where I find most of my creativity. And I'm not quite sure if it's actually the spaces. I mean, obviously, the spaces that I'm in give me creativity, but I feel like it's more the getting out of your environment, allowing your mind to kind of just quiet down, be fully present.
Yeah.
And once I'm in that state, a lot of ideas form, and they'll just kind of pop into my head. And then from there, I'll roll into something. For me, my main source of creativity has been my years of blogging and Tumblr and Pinterest, and just constantly looking at different images. And I feel when people tell me they're not creative, I'm like, that's not true. First of all, don't
Right.
tell me you're not creative, because
Right.
that's not possible. But I'll encourage them to look at images, start looking at images that make you feel something and inspire you. And that's what I try to do to my clients. So essentially, I specialize in bespoke. And what that means is
Mhm.
I create prints that are one of a kind to the space. And I started within the hospitality industry. So restaurants and hotels and cafes would come to me with a concept, and they'd be like, Candice, I'm opening a steakhouse. I want it to be super sexy and different and out there, but timeless. And you're like, okay, like all these
Yeah.
words. And from there, I'll put together a mood board of feeling first. This is what I want your customer to feel when they walk into your space.
Mm.
So do you feel very classy? Are you a high-end customer? Are you dressed a certain way? Or are you free, barefooted, hair down? So it's kind of like, what kind of feeling do you want to give your space? Um, and then it turns into the hand painting, and then it turns into the layout of the design. But yeah, I find the creativity process always starts with feeling, and then
Mm.
allowing yourself to be open to that. And sometimes I get really good ideas with random conversations with people that
Right.
aren't in the industry at all.
Mhm.
We'll talk about something, and they'll give me a good idea about, how, I don't know, I'm trying to think of an example, but um it's just allowing yourself to be present in the moment, and
Yeah.
not getting so fixated and frustrated with trying to figure it out. Allow
Mm.
it to flow.
I like that so much because that's kind of like I think something we're not really taught to do is like kind of that feeling overthinking. And I feel like with a creative process, it's like it can get you so much further if you just like go with what feels right versus try to like think and strategize and plan, which is kind of what it seems like we're taught to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love that. Just like being present and kind of like looking for inspiration outside of your everyday, like through travel or through conversations or outside of the industry. I think
Mhm.
specifically for women that are like trying to do their own spaces, they're in like a lot of times like this cycle of Pinterest, and it's hard to get like
out of it.
out of looking at the same images. Yeah. So
Yeah, no, I never look at interior design magazines.
yeah.
Rarely.
Mhm.
It's like if I'm doing a mood board, I'm looking at art, I'm looking at fashion, I'm looking at beautiful imagery of pictures and landscapes. That's where I draw my mood boards from. It's
Yeah.
rarely from interior.
I love that so
Mhm.
much. So such a good strategy. So I think first of all, textile design is just fascinating to me. So interesting. But as, kind of guiding everyday people through their design in their spaces, I often tell them to like grab an inspo piece, like a rug or a wallpaper print, and then kind of use that to pull like the color palette and
Mhm.
then base the room design on. So you're not like designing in a void. You have this piece that a designer has created for you, an artist has made. And so you can go off of that. But can we dive into kind of like the process of creating the actual design in terms of like putting together like that color combo and building the piece?
Yeah. Um, yeah, it's a process. Let me how do I
Mhm.
um so so first, like I said before, the client genuinely has an idea of what they're looking for. So what I like to ask them is, what are you inspired by? What do you love to do? What colors do you love? Um, and then from there, I take in all that information and I again put together a mood board, concept board. Okay, if you really love flowers, this is how I can put flowers on your wall within this color story. And this is the layout that I can give you. Do you like big scale? Do you like small scale? Do you want it to be a mural, which means it's non-repeated? Do you want it to fall around your wall? How do you want it to move around your wall? This is what I can do for you. And it's a very hands-on collaborative process from start to finish,
Yeah.
where every piece that I do, the client will see, the client will approve. And I don't even know, sometimes when I see the print done, it's like, wow, like
Mhm.
this is so cool. It's always ends up being something that I never would have imagined it being.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's the really fun part about bespoke work. And then I also have collection work that I sell online that I make myself. And collection work is pieces of work that it's my me time. It's my
Mhm.
time to kind of dream and paint whatever I want and do whatever I want, whatever color I want. And it's my time to have fun. So when it's collection work, it's a lot of travel, a lot of like lessons that I go through personally that I'll be like, oh
Yeah.
wow, I just had a really beautiful season of learning about myself and learning about patience and learning about this or learning about that. And sometimes that transpires into a print. So I think about everything else when creating a layout. What do I want that piece to feel, each sort of thing.
Yeah.
Um, so the creative process is very everywhere, but
Right.
yeah, but that's sort of how it starts to finish.
Yeah. And then do you find like, so like when you're designing a piece, it's a lot of like sketching and hands on, but then I feel like the digital aspect gives it a whole nother thing. Is there like a piece of the process where you're like trying on colors or like mocking things up like in a digital space that you can just be like, I don't know, it makes it quicker to kind of get to the end result?
Oh, of course. Yeah. I should have mentioned the fact that everything is hand painted, everything is hand drawn, but I put it into the computer,
Yeah.
and it's in the computer in Photoshop. That's where I like to work. That's where I do the layout. And then
Hmm.
if you have a wall that you want to, do, oftentimes I'll take a photo of your actual room, and then we can play with the exact scale, the exact layout, so you can see it mapped out before you order.
Yeah.
With restaurants, obviously that has to be done because you
Hmm.
need to see before you order the big quantities. Um, but yeah, so everything, all the colors can be changed and adjusted. The scales can be adjusted on the computer. That's where like
That's
the
yeah.
fun.
That's so cool. So, I know you have like a new collection that's launching, the open air collection, and I'd love to learn more about like what creating that was like, maybe like what inspired it and how you kind of translated that inspiration to the actual like products and prints that we see.
Yeah, open air was really fun because I feel like I'm from Toronto and COVID, the pandemic really hit hard in Canada.
Yeah.
And it's still pretty bad right now.
Right.
And through the pandemic, I wanted to push myself to do something different. And whether that be take up a sport or whatever it was, I wanted to push myself to learn something new. And one of my really good friends is a skier. And we were chatting, and she was like, I'm going to go to Banff and I'm going to get some lessons for the week, because she's like, I like to do that once a year, and I'm going to sleep in the mountain. And I was like, I'm coming. And I haven't skied
Mm-hmm.
since I was like, who knows, 19, maybe
Right.
18. And I was like, I'm going to come. And I fell in love with Canada. It's so silly to say, and I'm almost embarrassed to admit this, but I haven't traveled Canada a lot. And so the Canadian Rockies are like breathtaking. And I
Mm-hmm.
slept in a mountain for a week, not in the mountain, but the hotel was in the mountain, on a ski hill. I took lessons for a week. I got much better at skiing. Um, and then in the summer, I was in cottages, and then I went back to skiing in Kelowna. And it was just kind of a really cool year of stuff that I otherwise never would have done, because I would never had
Mm-hmm.
time to take a
Right.
week off and go skiing. And so that collection was inspired by that, inspired by this time during the pandemic where the hospitality projects were put on hold,
Right.
and I was left to dream again, and I was left to kind of do whatever I wanted again and create from a space of infinite time. There was no,
Mm-hmm.
in the hospitality space, the deadlines are very strict, obviously,
Right.
and they want things the next day,
Yep.
obviously, right? And I didn't have to do that. So it was like, okay, let's do what I want to do, and let's dream, and let's get to that place that I was kind of before things got really busy.
Yeah.
And that collection is inspired by that time. And so I worked with 3D artist Alyssa Ramstetter. I think I'm saying that her last name right.
Mm-hmm.
And she does beautiful 3D work. And I was like, what if we built a mock-up of a home in the middle of the mountains and illustrated the wallpaper on the wall? And this is a direct inspiration of, the Rocky Mountains that I was so grateful and able to see. Yeah, and then everything that I do, all the collections that I make videos as well. So I have, iPhone footage that I take, and then I put the videos together. Yeah, it was just really fun. It just like whenever I think
Mm-hmm.
about open air, I smile because
Yeah.
it was a really nice time.
That's so cool. So if people are wanting to like shop collections, that's your website is where they'd go to find all of those?
Yep, it's all on CandiceKayeDesign.com, and then shop wallpaper, and then you can see all the collections that I've worked on over the years.
Yeah, perfect. I know people will want to check out your Instagram too because it's amazing, full of inspiration. So, but yeah, just to let everyone know where they can shop. And kind of along those lines, I'm finding like the everyday girl can be intimidated by wallpaper, which I
Mhm.
totally get because, these prints in large rooms can sometimes, well, they can be more on the pricey side if you're filling a huge room with wallpaper.
Mhm.
But also in terms of like feeling like you don't have wiggle room to mess up. So do you have any tips for people on the like residential design side when it comes to choosing and installing wallpaper? Like how do you know it's gonna be right for your space? And are there any like installation secrets you might have?
Yeah, I guess wallpaper could be a scary process to order. And I feel like one of my main goals as a textile designer, particularly in the wallpaper space, is to sort of break down those barriers.
Yeah.
I would say order samples for sure. See if the
Mm,
color works in your space. Don't be afraid to order a lot of samples. Put them up on your wall. Let it sit there. Look at it. Love it. Fall in love with it.
mm,
Um, we offer peel and stick. So a lot of the time, one of the main problems is putting it up on your wall and then not being able to take it down. Peel and stick, you can
right.
put it up, take it down whenever you want, and then make the investment. I think it's
Yeah.
it's a piece of artwork in your house, in your room, or whatever room you choose to do. And it can act as artwork. So it's not just wallpaper that just kind of lives there. It could act
Right.
as a wall that, has energy and vibrancy and the art in your space. So just take chances. Don't be scared.
Yeah. I love that. That's like my kind of life motto, is just dive in and try it.
We'll get back to the conversation after a quick word from our sponsor.
Okay, time for something super exciting. So I talk to clients every day who really struggle to pick out colors for their spaces. They feel overwhelmed, like they're standing at the color wall having no idea where to even start. They find themselves Googling best colors for the dining room, being overwhelmed by choices and underwhelmed by the one that they pick. So I want to change the game in a really easy and approachable way. So I'm launching a mini course called Color Curator. This is going to help you create a personalized, perfect palette for your space. This course has all kinds of practical strategies, and it is going to change the way you think about color. You deserve to feel confident in creating beautiful spaces filled with color that light you up and support your everyday life. And I'm here to show you that it doesn't take a design degree, in-depth color theory, or hiring an interior designer to achieve that. If this sounds super exciting and it sounds exactly like something you need in your space, just hop over to DIYDreamHome.club/color. You can get all the information, you can get in on this. It's gonna be amazing. I'm so pumped to have made this course for you, and I know it is going to change spaces and transform lives, and I seriously cannot wait to see how it can help you in your space.
And now, back to the interview.
I like what you said about art, like letting the wallpaper be the art in your space. I feel like patterns today are so much more dynamic than wallpaper was when it first came out. It was kind of very like printed, and now it's
Yeah.
more like it feels very artful. So that's a really good way to think of it, is like it is the art and is an like investment piece. So yeah, I love that thought for sure. Along those lines, I think like when you go really bold with prints, especially through wallpaper that has that big scale or is filling a whole wall, it can really drive a space. It can feel very like powerful in a room, and sometimes even bossy or loud, which depending on what you're going for, like could be a good thing. But do you have tips for like selecting prints for your space and how to ensure they're like working with the room, like making a statement versus feeling like you're dominating a room with a wallpaper?
Mm-hmm. So if you want to just say you want to do your powder room, that's something that I say have the most fun with. You could do like small scale, large scale, dark colors, do the ceiling, make that space your little oasis. So when you walk in, it's an escape from like the rest of the house.
Yeah.
The powder room is the most fun because it's, four walls. You can't,
Right.
right? It's fun. When you do a living space or like your bedroom, um, it really just depends on the size of the space. If you have high ceilings, that wall can carry a bigger scale.
Mm.
If you have low ceilings and you're doing a smaller wall, I would do medium scale. I wouldn't do something so oversized where it gets lost and you can't quite see what the print is. Do you know what I
Right.
mean? Do you know what I mean?
Like huge giant flowers that are like you get one or two flowers because the scale's
Yeah.
so big. Yeah.
And then it would just it will throw off the scale in your space. And
Mm.
one of the things that I love doing is perfecting scale. It's like this little weird, like nerdy thing that
Yeah.
I
It's
do.
so important though. I
It's
love
so
that.
important. And especially when I do hospitality, the walls are endless and they go, they could be big, they could be small. Um, so if it's really big, go large,
Yeah.
for sure have fun with it. Because on the flip side, if you have a really big wall and you do a small scale, it's going to look really bad,
Right.
right?
Like
It's
too
just
tiny. Yeah.
too tiny. It's going to get dizzy and you don't want to be dizzy in your home.
Mhm.
So if you are doing floral, for example, on a 12 to 14 scale foot ceiling, you could do your flowers at between 12 inches to 14 inches. That's a nice scale for that wall.
Right.
And then if you have a smaller space, I would go smaller, just to make it feel proper. And
Mhm.
then, yeah, it's tough, right? Because I'm thinking of a bedroom right now. And if I had one wall in my bedroom that I was doing, you could go large there. It really just
Mhm.
depends on what you love and your taste. But one thing that I would say is don't go too big because
Right.
it would get lost.
Yeah, I like that. Like in general, like bigger walls, bigger scale, smaller walls, smaller scale, but there's like a range in between where it's like you can go bigger and smaller within like, a certain
Ex-
range where it's going to look good, but then that kind of like defines your vibe. So
exactly,
I like that a
exactly.
lot. Um, I also know that you have a collection with CB2 that includes some of your like more iconic prints that are very
Hmm.
Instagrammable. What was that process like?
Oh, so fun.
Yeah.
CB2 is the best. The people that I work with there are so nice.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, that was like really fun. They approached me to put some of my prints on rugs. We did a collection of 7, I believe,
Mhm.
and that was fun. I was super hands-on from giving them prints that I loved and then being able to choose the fibers. I started in the rug industry in New York.
Okay.
That's where I worked before I had my own company. Um, so it was fun to be like, okay, I really want this to be wool. I want this to be handmade.
Yeah.
I want this to be rustic. I love that rustic look. Can we do that? And like they just had the means to kind of give me what I wanted.
Mhm.
And then for a tone on tone, we did a really pretty like feline tone on tone cream rug. But I was like, I really want the patches to be silk, so that it gives you that sheen. And then let's do the ground wool, so at least there's some movement in the rug.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was super fun. We have more stuff coming out in fall, and we
Okay.
have another new collection coming out next spring. But I can't say what it is. But
Right? We'll be surprised.
it's gonna be it's gonna be really fun. So we're going beyond rugs onto other surfaces.
Ooh, it's so exciting.
Yeah,
But that is
so
so cool. I like the thought of like between wallpaper and rugs, like you have a whole texture dimension to play with and like different materials and it like has to feel good versus
mhm.
just like look good. So that's like a whole different thing. That's so cool.
Yeah, and that's what's so fun about textile for me is anything that you purchase, anything that I purchase, anything that I make, from my linen to the rugs to the wallpaper, it's ultimately textile. So what does it feel
Right.
like? Are you getting a proper product? Does it feel luxury? Does it feel like you're, you know, getting what you paid for? All those things have to come into place, because then anyone can do it and just put a print on any kind of fabric. But
Right.
there has to be a type of um, attention to detail on the way the fabric moves and what you're using, in order to make it really beautiful.
Absolutely. It's like definitely one of those times when that cliche saying is right of design is in the detail. But
Hmm.
do you have any tips for people like purchasing textile? I know it can get so tricky with like, an interior design. At least I know it's like, some brands will license the same design to like a box store and they reproduce literally the same piece, but like lower quality materials,
Hmm.
different fabric. It looks identical, but it is like the quality variance is huge.
Hmm.
And a lot of everyday people just don't realize that. So, do you have any strategies for like buying quality items when it comes to textiles? Like, what are some key things we're looking for? Like, how do we know we're getting something that's really good quality?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I think when it comes to wallpaper, that really just depends on the type of print that you want, because paper is paper ultimately. And like, yes, I
Right.
offer luxe linens and luxe plaster finishes, but my regular wallpaper is normally the best seller when it comes to residential.
Yeah.
And then, so for wallpaper, it really just depends on, do you want something that everyone else has in a big box store, or would you want to go with a more independent designer and purchase a print that you probably won't see every day?
Right. Right.
Um, so it depends on like your taste, and a lot of people are starting to do their wallpaper in the closets. It's so
Hmm.
cool. I love
Yeah.
it.
I love it
And
so
then
much.
obviously behind bookshelves. So if you're looking for the element of surprise, um, it just really depends on what kind of print you want. Like with
Yeah.
all of our stuff, we can change the ground color, the flower colors. So there's a level of customization to the collection work so that it
Yeah.
fits my client perfectly. So it just depends on your level of detail that you want to put into your space. And then when it comes to fabric, that's just it's just, taking the time to touch and to feel and looking at the product. Is it 100% cotton, or is it polyester? Is it, linen, or is it, just kind of taking the time to touch and feel the product and making sure that it feels good, because ultimately it's your home. So you want your
Right.
products to feel really great. I know with CB2, their quality is beautiful. The rugs that they make are beautiful.
Mm.
Yeah, it's tough. I guess it's a tough question when you don't,
Yeah.
right? But
There's so many variables for sure.
there's so many variables, and then there's some products like even in fashion, you shop at Zara and it's beautiful. It's a quarter of the cost
Right.
when it's like compared to bigger brands, but maybe that's kind of what you want for like a t-shirt. So
Mhm, mhm.
pick and choose in your home where you're willing to kind of splurge, and then areas where you just want to, save money.
Yeah. That's definitely the way to approach it. Like, include, like, moments of luxury and things that feel custom and special and invest there, and then the basics, you can, go cheaper if it if it doesn't feel like it makes a difference. So,
Exactly. It's like that
yeah.
really nice blazer that you purchase, but then like the t-shirt's from like $10.
Right? Yeah.
Right?
Because I'll sweat a bunch through them anyway, so we want a fresh one, like
Yeah,
for sure.
exactly.
So what is coming up for you in 2021? I know you can't say too much, but I also know that you're, like, probably planning far ahead with the kind of work you do. So do you have any fun projects or collaborations that you can share a little bit about?
Yeah, yeah. I feel like it's exciting because I feel like now everything's starting to open, and
Yeah.
what was supposed to open last year is now opening this year.
Right.
So yeah, so CB2 collaboration, obviously that's coming out. And then I have a really, really fun collaborations with some interior designers that I'm working with.
Yeah.
And that's been a really fun avenue I'm just sort of testing and experimenting with. I'm working with two girls in LA, and we're doing a really fun capsule wallpaper collection. And the prints are something that I would have never done if it wasn't,
Mhm.
collaboration with them. Um, I'm working on more table linens. We're doing, um, what is it called? What is it called? Tablecloths?
Like, yeah, tabletop, not tabletop.
Tablecloths. Yeah.
Tablecloth, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'll be experimenting more with that. And then I'm working on really fun boutique hotel projects on the commercial side of my bespoke business.
Ooh, fun.
Yeah, so it's going to be a more holistic approach. So anything from the wallpaper will match the rug, will match the fabric, will match the bed, like the linens, and this is
Mhm.
something that I've always wanted to do. So it's really fun to know that it's finally kind of happening.
Yeah.
And that's really all that I can talk about. But
Uh-huh. No, for sure, but on that note, I kinda wanna ask, so, like, it used to be that interior design was very matchy-matchy, like, you upholstered your couch in the same fabric that was your curtain fabric, and it was, like, very decorated, and I feel like we've moved away from that, but then there still is sort of, like, that matching and coordination going on. Is there, like, a strategy? Like, are you literally putting the same print on the wall as the rug, or is it, like, the same color palette and vibe? Like, how do you do that?
yeah, I think it's just making sure that they're complementary. I love matchy matchy. I think it's like so cute and fun when it's
Mhm.
done right.
Yeah.
But yeah, so just for example, if we're doing floral on the wall, maybe you'll see the same flower, a single flower on the pillow, or
Mm.
the rug. Maybe you'll see if it's geometric, exactly the colors match. So at least when you walk in, you kind of feel it's very holistic. Everything feels kind of the same.
Yeah. There's, like, a cohesiveness versus, like, a copy paste
There's a cohesive,
situation.
exactly, because yeah, that's not what you want. Because
Right,
then it
right.
just
It's too
doesn't feel
much, yeah.
exactly.
Well, so cool. I know everyone's gonna wanna see all of your designs because it's so hard to, like, explain them. So, where can everyone find you on Instagram so they can go check all of this out?
So it's at underscore Candice Kaye underscore. And then I also have at Candice Kaye Design, which is just sort of my my company website, but it just more uses the gallery to kind of show what I have.
Yeah.
And then my website is CandiceKayeDesign.com.
Amazing. I will link all of that in the show notes.
Amazing.
Is there anything we missed, you think?
I don't know. I don't think so. Your work is so cool. I feel like we didn't talk at all about you. Your stuff is so
I
awesome.
talk about me all the time. Everyone knows exactly what I'm doing. So I think they're excited to hear from you and hear your work. It's such an interesting industry that I know like literally nothing about. So this was like very fun for me in a selfish way to get to learn.
I saw the fridge that you wrapped.
Uh-huh.
How did you do that? That's amazing.
Yeah, it's literally just like regular pasted wallpaper. And everyone was very concerned that it wouldn't hold up. But like I'm in Houston and it's like my garage fridge, like my workshop is in the garage and it's very cute. It doesn't really look like a garage, but it's held up for like over a year, like
That's
perfectly.
Awesome.
So
I
yeah,
love that.
I'm really into putting wallpaper on like weird things and unconventional things. So
No, but it's just exactly that's why wallpaper is so incredible. It's like you could really just do anything and put it anywhere.
Absolutely. It's like so versatile.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for your time and sharing so much insight and knowledge. I can't wait for people to connect with you and be inspired by your work and probably shop some of your pieces because your collections are amazing.
Thank you. And thank you so much for having me.
Oh my gosh,
so fun.
Absolutely. So fun. #obsessed. This week, I am obsessed with my own genius invention, and that is this wallpaper smoothing tool that I made. So backstory, I got this peel and stick wallpaper from Temp Paper, and they sent this little tiny wallpaper smoother. It was the coolest tool I have ever used for applying wallpaper because it had an edge that you could push out the bubbles, but it was wrapped in like this felt, so it didn't scratch or ding the pattern. Then I lost it. So RIP to my favorite ever tool, and I needed to find a way to recreate this to install my wallpaper because it is magical. So I did, and there's a full tutorial on my TikTok and Pinterest and probably also a highlight bubble on Instagram. But basically, I bought a paint shield, which is kind of like a metal scraper edge, but it's long, like 8 inches longish. And then I put sticky Velcro, but like just the rough side of the Velcro on the metal edge of the scraper. Then I took a piece of felt, pressed it down onto that rough edge Velcro, and wrapped it around the edge so that the edge is covered in felt. It's no longer a sharp metal edge. And bam, we have a new wallpaper scraper that was under $5. It is a game changer, and you should definitely make one. Psst, if you're still here, that means we need to be friends. Hop over to Instagram and follow me at Never Skip Brunch if you want DIY projects and more design inspo. Or if you want to get connected for podcast-specific updates, hop over to Make Space Pod, and you can stay in the loop for when new episodes drop. See you on Instagram.
I'm on my way back.
Thanks for listening. If this is your first time listening in, be sure to hit that subscribe button so you can stay in the loop with the newest episodes. If you're a subscriber and you love the show, be sure to rate, review, or a screenshot and share your favorite episode on social.
You're listening to this podcast, so I know you've got a curious mind. Here's a helpful fact you may not know yet. Drivers who switch and save with Progressive save over $900 on average. Pop over to Progressive.com, answer some questions, and you'll get a quick quote with discounts that are easy to come by. In fact, 99% of their auto customers earn at least one discount. Visit Progressive.com and see if you can enjoy a little cash back. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. National average 12-month savings of $946 by new customers surveyed who saved with Progressive between June 2024 and May 2025. Potential savings will vary.